All righty. It looks like the woman of the hour is here. Yes, 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 yes. The woman of the hour is officially in the building. Hello, Laquita.
Well, hi there, Lily Mae. How are you?
You know what?
And Happy New Year.
Spectacular and happy new year to you also. Laquita,
Fantastic.
listen, I have to say congratulations on everything. When you move from fear and self-doubt and all the other foolishness that's imposed and inflicted upon us, you feel different. You feel at peace. So you are a representation of every free woman. Not every woman, because every woman isn't free, but every free woman. So Laquita, welcome to It's Consulting Time, IG Lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Lily. I am so appreciative and honored to be here. So I'm glad, and I'm always ready to share and help others. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Laquita, I want you to first and foremost tell everybody just a little bit about Laquita, the individual.
So Laquita Brooks is a little girl from the outskirts of New Orleans, Louisiana, from KC. Whoop, whoop. And we're down south here, and so I've dealt with a lot as first of all being a Black person and then being a woman. So to endure and get through a lot of stuff that we have already been through, without even saying a lot, we all here know that what we have been through and what we're still going through in some sense. And to persevere and to get through those things it can be a challenge. But I was determined to be able to go through those things, especially as being a teenage mom. I was pregnant at 17, had my daughter at 18, and I was single parent, and but I still had a dream, like MLK would say. And so I was selling candy when I was in high school, not even knowing I had that entrepreneurial spirit, but I was always knew that I wanted to do something different, and I always had that hustling spirit, so to speak, inside. So I was always doing that. I was selling candy. I would go to Sam's, buy my stuff, and I would go sell it. And I would make my Rice Krispie treats and sell all those lollipops and chips, all of that. And then I started getting into hair, which is hereditary. So my mom, she did hair. She was old school child with the hot comb stuff and pop you with the comb and all that. So she did. I grasped a little bit of that, and I started doing hair in my mom's kitchen. And so I always kind of just figured out how to make some extra change. We, especially as a Black woman, we know how to make it work, right? As a parent and as a Black woman.
You know, Laquita, I got to step back because when you said you used to go to Sam's, yes, I think we all sold candy in high school. I will never forget. We started a candy selling trend so much that the principal said, you cannot do this at school.
Right.
We learned, we were like, okay, so what we do is we go into the Dollar Tree, though. We went to the dollar store and got this 10-pack, the 8-pack. It was 8-pack back then, the 8-pack, and then we were selling them for 25 cents. I went to DC for spring break and I was balling, honey. So I did it.
Yes. You know how to, when you got to do what you got to do, you make it work, right?
Yes.
And so that's something I always was doing. So when I decided I was in school, hair school, pregnant, and then I finished hair school, and then I wanted a salon. I started off in the back of my mom's house. I had my own shed, and I was good. And then I moved on to having a storefront. And so from there, I had, back then was when we were kind of like, I don't know everybody's age, but I have a little longer tooth maybe. And so I know that back then when we did possibly like Trump, we didn't know all of that. There was a lot of talking about real estate and stocks. And so I was so intrigued about real estate. I wanted to know more. So I went to real estate school while I had the salon and doing hair. And so that began the journey of the entrepreneurship, like really digging deeper. And then later on, I started off, my husband, he has a logistics business, and then I added on and got my own logistics business.
Okay,
So,
let's put a pin in it because that was one of the first things that intrigued me. I come from a trucking family. That's my dad.
oh,
We're Southerners. Everybody down here considers Virginia the North, but Virginia is really central. We're in the middle. And in Southern
mm-hmm.
Virginia, we're true Southerners. So, we were in the livestock realm of things.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about being a Black woman with a trucking company.
Let me tell you, like again, it is truly going deeper because now you're black and you're a woman and you're in a man's world, right? And so I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. It's really, really tough. And so the not to and I and I don't want to say that I cheated, but if it wasn't really the fact that I had the support of my husband, who was the one who helped as the manager, and I was the one who really owned the business and really did all of the other stuff while he managed it, I'm not sure if I would have been able to endure that challenge. I'm always up for a challenge, but there's something about and being in a man's world, it just brings it to another level. And I can relate when I see Tiffany Haddish talk about her journey as a comedian, right? Have you
Yes,
seen that?
yes.
And it was tough for her to be able to break into the comedian, being a comedian, because it is hard. They won't let you in like that easily. So it was a challenge in that sense.
You know, it's always been a challenge for African American women. And I think the interesting thing, guys, is that it's a challenge for African American women more in our own community. Because if we really look at history, and we have to embrace and address history, generally speaking, we are more held up when we're working with men that don't look like us. And it's sad because we live in a world where we do not support our own unless there's a benefit to us. And I think
Yeah.
it's sad. But let's shift into how I made my first million. So let's about how I made my first million.
Yeah, and let me tell you, being able to do this journey and talk about the meme, it was a challenge for me because I'm kind of a humbling sense. But it was, and it's someone who really, if you really didn't see it in that way, you would have taken it as I was bragging. But I'm here to really be able to assist people to understand that the journey is so doable. But you have to take note to the fact that you got to do some simple. It's so simple, but can be so deep and hard steps. And that's one thing, is changing your mindset and how you want to look at things and how you look at things differently. What do you really want out of life? What do you want your dash to say? Your beginning, your end, your birth and your death. What do you want your dash say? What legacy do you want to leave? And until I started taking that inventory of myself and realizing, what do I really want? Because I had began at one point in my life being a little complacent, because your surroundings do not show you differently, right? Your surroundings may not show you differently. So that's number two. Number two is that you have to change your surroundings. Change your surround. It doesn't matter who it is. It can be family members. It can be anyone close to you. You need to change, and that doesn't mean you don't love them. That just means you're going to be approaching them from a different level. You may not approach them from the same level that they're at. You just might say, "Hey, I love you, and let's talk about something simple, and I gotta go." Because when they go to that next step, that next area you don't want to go to, you got to know how to when to cut it off, right? So you're changing surroundings. Three, if you want to be a millionaire, you need to set yourself in the presence of millionaires. You want to be an author, you need to be around authors. If you want that yacht, I want to go ride around with some people who got some yachts, okay?
Hello,
You
somebody.
need to set yourself to where you can't just talk about it. You need to truly be about it.
Do it.
You
Yes.
got to do it. And it takes sacrifice. It takes sacrifice. It may be where you may not be going out as much. It may be where you may say, I can't watch TV. Whatever it is that is, we all have our hiccups. We all like, I like a good reality TV every now and then, right?
Give me crime and medicine. Crime and medicine, I'm good.
See, but then that might take that I need to revamp my time management. My time may not be spent doing those things that I might have done before more often. I was a lifetime queen child. I was on it all the time. I knew every move. I knew what was going to happen before. In the first 15 minutes, I was like, he's the killer. But I know now, I know that I had to set myself apart, and I needed to make some changes that surrounded myself and think like a millionaire in order to set myself in that path. And if you don't get those 3 easy, they're so simply said, but you have to make the sacrifice. So the question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to get there? See, people see the end of the journey, but they don't see all what you go through to get there.
Can you please repeat that one more time? What do people see?
They only see, look, we're watching social media. You all are on social media right now. You see the end results. You see the glam. You see all the social media content, people who are all dressed up and all name brand and business. And you don't even know if that is, you don't even know if that's real. That could be borrowed. So you see all the glitz and glam, and some is true and some may not be. But I can tell you for the ones that it is true, you don't know the journey. You may not see all of the hard stuff. You may not see the money that the business deals that I may have lost, and the things that I have that I tried and it didn't work out. You see, there could be some things that may not work out along this journey. That doesnn't mean that is the end all. That just means I did it, and I'm going to take what I learned from that, and I'm going to take that and pick that up and say, okay, I know not to do this part again in that. Let me take that with me and go this way. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to stop right now. Don't do it on your phone that you're watching us on. Go over to your computer and just don't even go to her website. Just Google Laquita Brooks. Just Google her. Laquita space Brooks. She's magnificent. She has a lot to say. Real estate, logistics, motivation, self-help. And I think, Laquita, of every title that you hold, which one is the most near and dear to your heart?
The motivational is really what I love to do. Okay. I love helping people. And let me clarify, it's the people who really want the help. Because you may really say you want the help, but the question is, do you really want the help? And what I mean by that is, are you willing to do the work? See, because anybody wants to help, can have their hand held along the way, but that doesn't still mean that they're not gonna make it, because you're holding their hand and you're more exhausted than they are, because you're trying to get them to see something that you see, but they got to want it. That means you got to be willing to do everything that comes along with it when you're getting help. So when I'm motivated, I'm coaching people, I'm kind of a hard stickler, because my question to you is, what do you want and what are you willing to do to get there? And if you don't want to take those steps, then why are we really here? Right?
Okay. So help me understand this, because my friends reference me as a drill sergeant, right? I don't know how to talk to people. I think that I am a 5-star general and they are going through basic training, because really
it's boot camp. It's boot camp.
Honey, that's the household I grew up in. My mama was like, you're going to do it right here and right now. You have no choice and you will not be late. So when you're teaching and when you're instructing and when you're providing this support, because you are a helper and not an enabler, how do you separate your person, the strong, independent person that you are? How are you able to separate that and kind of step into a teaching role? Because, there's a difference between showing and doing and actually teaching someone.
I can say this. The first thing that's coming to mind, that I tap into my discerning spirit. Because if I'm talking to you, I can already see whether you really want to do it or not. most of the time in the first few minutes, I'm noticing where you are and what you really want to do. So once I've determined that, then I can really get into the coaching mode and teaching if that's a part of it. You know, I love seeing eager people who are ready to do the work, and that gives me more energy, and that pushes me more to want to help them. I am the biggest rooter for you. I'm your biggest cheerleader when you really are doing it, because when you start doing it, that's the hardest part, is getting over a habit, to unbreak a habit to get into a new one, a better one. And once you're doing that and you're starting to see the progress, then then I'm feeling more excited, because that means, for one, you trusted me. You understood the assignment, and now you're getting it. You're becoming more in line with your assignment and what you are here to do. You have decided to pivot. You want to pivot to profit into something else, better, new for you, for your family, for the generations to come, for financial wealth. You want it. You get it. And not everybody, you understand what I'm saying? Get it? Not everybody gets it.
I need to churn. Listen, folks, turn out there. Churn, not children, but turn.
Yes, I am DJ Squirt.
Listen, and you know what? DJ Squirt is another young lady that we're all here together. And it's so hard because we're in this entertainment industry, and people don't understand that you don't have all day to plan. You got to plan, execute, plan, execute. If you spend all of your time planning, you're not going to produce nothing. Period. Plan, execute, trial and error. That's what I hear you saying.
Yes,
you're not going to produce great all the time, but produce something. And
keep moving. And let me tell you, if COVID didn't wake you up, my question to you is, what will?
Nothing.
If that didn't make you decide, well, either now, because I had COVID, so I know, and right out the bat in February 2020, so I know what that was like, and you do that plea with God, like, God, if you get me out of this one, it was that kind of thing. And so it was where, okay, now it's level up. Let's go hard. Let's go harder.
Yes.
Let's keep doing it.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Now we got to go back, because you said pivot to profit, and I want to talk about pivot to profit. So tell everybody what's coming up February 19th.
Yes, February the 19th, I will be giving an awesome conference. I have some awesome ladies who will be joining us. And this is for people who understand that have the entrepreneurial spirit. Even if you haven't started it, but you're ready and you kind of need some direction, this is the one that's for you. And if you are in it and you definitely want to go take it to a new level, and there are some things that have happened with COVID pandemic. We have some fears in us. We're wondering, there's so many unknowns. We don't know what's going to happen. We're not sure what the future may bring. We're holding on and we're still praying about it, right? But this is the part where I wanted to give people some information of understanding what you need to be able to disaster-proof your business, to disaster-proof your life. So you need some steps. You need some information that has to do with taxes. You may need an attorney to talk about some things. And I will talk about some business things that I have been through and to be able to share with you. And so I thought that was important to bring that in this time of where we don't know what's going to happen. We have Delta, Omicron. We got another one that just was
IHU.
Yes, talked about. So we need to you need support. You want somebody to know you're not alone, and you want some steps, and you need some encouragements to keep making it through. And let me tell you, you all have to understand there's been more entrepreneurs that's popped out during pandemic than ever. But there are some who are still fearful, who have business. On the other end, there's businesses that have closed, that have been major businesses that we would have thought they would have never closed during, this time. We thought they would have sustained. So what happened there was the question. And we're going to talk about it so we can understand what not to do.
So, Laquita, all right. There's a lot of women's empowerment things going on. And I'm going to tell you something. Black women are really doing it. I have to say that. But what do we do about our men? Because my first platform, my first platform was built out of honor of my father, who was a traditional, strong, real black man. Like, he was a patriarchal black man. But one thing about it, he married a woman that was like, all right, hold up, player. You are the man of the house, but I wear the pants. And it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But when Philando Castile and Alton
Mm-hmm.
Sterling's lives were taken, my whole world shifted, because I was raised to respect authority,
Mm-hmm.
respect your elders, and humble yourself in front of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like we were taught early on to somewhat demean our men. And I'm just feeling like the same way the Willie Lynch letter, this letter that really doesn't exist, was created for us to do this. We have to take that, reverse it, and really uplift and restore the honor and humility of my men. So my question to you is, do you ever think that there will be a time when you, and possibly even your husband, will come up with something where we can say, you know what? Let's figure out how we can really empower our men, and not the men that you normally see at conferences, the
Mm-hmm.
men that you may not be able to just reach out and touch, if that makes sense.
I've thought of, it's funny you said that because I've thought about that and I wondered how could we do that. And I really believe that it does. We are our brother's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. We are letting things go by the wayside and we're not taking a stand and being there to help bring others up. And so, for one, it's been tough because, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You have you have fathers who have neglected children, but then what was their pain and what was their hurt?
Bingo, bingo, bingo. And nobody
So
wants to talk about it. Nobody
nobody
wants
wants
to
to
talk
talk
about
about it. There's a conversation that needs to be had, but not just a conversation. It's something that has to be done, and it's going to take a mass effort. It just can't be one. We all have to be ready, and we have to be not afraid to be able to deal with it because we now people are more vocal than ever. Everybody has a voice, and they got something to say, and if they don't have anything to really say to your face, they're going to say it from a private Instagram account, right? So, it's like, you have to be not afraid to be able to speak up
it.
about what's necessary and what's needed to happen. And so we have to have a conversation of everybody it's kind of like a mastermind, I think, where you get together and you say, what would we do? And if you might have something to offer because you do something different than what I do, and I may have something to offer, say, yes, I'm going to take this and I'm going to help these children. What I've decided to do is that, which I'm not going to lie, it's challenging because we all have lives and we have a lot of things to do, but we can't not afford to do this. It's
We
just not
can.
afford. So
We
I've
can.
taken on the challenge of helping out my youth at my church, and I help them with, on once a month we get together. They're able to express themselves. They're able to talk about things, and it's not so heavy about biblical. You know what I mean? It has a biblical undertone, so
That's
it
it.
won't run them away. They
That's it.
know that God exists and is there, but it's not like pounding, like, you know what I mean? It's not the
Yes.
pounding of like God thus said the word. It's more like you can express yourself, but understand that God is still there, and you just need to go to Him if you need some help. I mean, I'm here too. And so, and then I help them, we, sing, we just started up the choir. So I try to get them, and I was really concerned because kids you don't get that as much often where the kids doing that, but they really do enjoy doing it because they're looking for a place of peace without all of the drama.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
That peace is something that we use that term so frequently. And I asked my mother one day, and she's 83. I said, Mama, what is peace? Because you hear peace, be still. You know, he was laying there, and in the midst of the storm, he just said, peace, be
Mm.
still. And they say the waters were calm. And when I asked my mother that, she said, this is peace. And I was like, what? She said, my children are grown. I got you to 18. Y'all not in my house. I'm somewhat in my right mind because it's like, you know, they know when they starting to get a little forgetful. She said,
Mm.
but I wake up and I'm still here and I have not a care in the world. She said, that's peace.
Mm.
She said, I have not a care in the world. And I started thinking about that thing. And it's something that you just said when you said that those children express themselves and you not pounding a mortal thing to them. You're
Mm.
allowing them to understand that the supernatural exists, but you give them a practical peace. You giving them a practical peace. Because
Mm.
realistically, they aren't going to get that peace that we're beginning to understand until they go through something and come out on the other side of it. Laquita, you are more than a motivational maven. You are a spiritual mother. And I think that we got to get back to the mothers in the community.
Mm. Yeah. Because what happens is what we're seeing in violence is someone who just has a hurt child in there somewhere. Even though we don't want to look at it like that, we want to say that
Yeah,
they're renegades and they're
yeah,
no good. Like we've
yeah.
thrown them away. But to be honest with you, they really want help. They just don't know what to do and how to do it because someone left them. Someone left
Mhm.
them. And so we have to in order to make things change, if we want to change the trajectory of how the world is going to be, because if we don't, we're not looking up to something that's going to get better. It's going to get worse. And so we would have to come together and say we're going to now is the time we want to make a change, and it has to be consistent.
We we get irate and we Black Lives Matters when somebody else takes our lives. But we don't fight for justice when we take our own lives. But I'm gonna leave that alone because you know that's a whole different conversation.
That
But
is that's
we're
a
gonna
whole
have
other
that
thing.
conversation one day, Laquita, and we're gonna have that conversation in a conference style setting, and we're gonna really talk about it. We're gonna talk about
Hmm.
it, but we ain't got to do it today. We're gonna have the proper planning for an
Yes.
executive style execution of that conversation. But Laquita, please let everybody know where they can find you, but also how they can tap into the conference.
Fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me first say for being here and being able to share any tools that I have with anyone. I hope that I've inspired someone here. And if I have, then my living is not in vain. And so you can reach out to my website at themotivationalmaven.com. And of course, I'm here on Instagram at Mrs. Businesswoman. And if you feel like this is something, this may not be for everyone, but if you feel like this is something that you just want to know, how can I make that pivot this year? This is a great opportunity to do so, from pivot to profit.
You know something? If you can help somebody as you pass along, then your living will not. Girl, that is my
Yes.
favorite song. My favorite song. This was meant to be. Guys, it's consulting time, but one thing about it, when you are aligned in the way that you should be, everything and everybody that passes through will always share the vision and the purpose. Laquita, thank you so much for coming through and bringing joy, Jules, and justice. Guys, This has been spectacular, and I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye bye.